like to call this meeting to order, the special meeting of the Village of Villa Park Village Board. Clerk Kornecki, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Trustee Salella?
Here.
Trustee Corkery? Trustee Kozar?
Here.
Trustee Kumar? Here. Trustee Murphy? Here. Trustee Patrick?
Here.
President Kazone?
Here. We all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, just a couple of things before we start. If there is an open seat, if somebody's standing, if they would take it. And we would like to limit discussion or comments to 3 minutes since we have so many people here. And with that, I will turn it over to the village manager.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Your Honor and board and folks in the audience at home, we're going to have a presentation led by Director Burke from our Economic Development Department. Director Burke is our Director of Economic Development. He's going to start a brief PowerPoint presentation. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Manager Keener. We're here tonight to discuss Hawthorne Development's project for the Metro train station area. So the project is a $120 million mixed-use market rate residential project. There's going to be 348 apartments in this. There'll be 10 studios, 273 one-bedrooms, and 65 two-bedrooms. If this project opened today, the studios would be starting at $1,600 a month. This is not low-income housing. This is not Section 8 housing. On the first floor, there's going to be a little less than 9,000 square feet of commercial on the Ardmore side. There's going to be a restaurant there, and then also another space for commercial. There'll be 440 parking spaces. The building's going to be fully sprinkled. There's going to be a fire alarm system, and there's going to be a secure building. Probably the project that's comparable to this is what we have over on Villa Avenue, the Ovaltine Court Apartments. That's 344 units, and it was also in the TIF district. When that TIF was created, the assessed value was just under $700,000. In 2020, it is now $18.2 million. So it's increased $17.5 million since 1995. And so, if you look at what this does, School District 88, they'll be receiving close to $625,000 in property taxes. I'm sorry, that was District 45. District 88 will be receiving about $375,000, and the village will be receiving $210,000, and that'll be every year moving forward. Now, these types of projects are true economic development. These really move the needle. And when you see at Ovaltine how that was a catalyst for the redevelopment of the Old Town Villa Avenue, this project could be similar for the train station area. In the train station area, there's been planning for this for almost 10 years now. Back in 2013, April 14th, there was a transit-oriented development public hearing. Later that year, in July, the village board approved the TOD overlay district. And a good definition for TOD is a mixed-use project that's within walking distance of public transit. And Hawthorne Development is a great example of what TOD is supposed to be doing. And then also in 2013, in the village's strategic plan, the train station area, this site, this area called for this type of redevelopment. And then when the zoning code was being updated in 2017 and in 2018, there were community meetings and village board meetings discussing this area. And then last year, when the board updated its strategic plan, the board created a goal: foster the completion of a successful redevelopment in the entire TOD area. And so this project accomplishes that goal. There was also, so there have been public meetings specifically for this project, which has started December 7th, 2020. Hawthorne Development presented to the village board, and then they also presented to both school districts. Hawthorne presented to District 45 on December 14th, and then District 88 on January 11th. The Planning and Zoning Commission also held a public hearing on this, and on April 28th, public notice was provided, and that notice was in the Daily Herald, and it was also mailed to all the adjoining property owners. The legal requirement is to notice property owners within 250 feet. The village noticed all property owners within 350 feet. And then signs on Ardmore, Vermont, and Beverly were also on there 15 days before the hearing. And then the Planning and Zoning Commission met May 13th. And then Hawthorne presented to the village board again on May 24th, and then again tonight as well. My colleague, Mike Guerra, Public Works Director, he's going to be talking about the stormwater and traffic management.
Thank you, Director Burke. At some of the public hearing meetings, as presented by Director Burke, some of the concerns and overall concerns of the village is stormwater management. That's been a concern with the storms recently. So my department, the Public Works Department, the Engineering Department, has been working with the developers throughout the early stages on how to properly manage the stormwater. We're looking at the existing conditions as that property stands currently right now. According to their calculations right now, there's 84,522 square feet of impervious surface. That is hard surface, concrete, buildings, sidewalks. What we're calling the proposed Metro Lot extension, that's kind of in conjunction with this project, which is the two duplexes, has currently 8,712 square feet of impervious surface. With the proposed development, they are taking up all that location. So the new proposed development will be about 118,229 square feet. Previously in those public meetings, Dr. Vish has demonstrated that they're planning to use green infrastructure, and then with that is to help reduce the stormwater. So on their third deck, their pool deck, they're planning to use 10,638 square feet of green roof. And for those, that's a bit of soil and grass actually growing in on that deck, which will greatly reduce the amount of stormwater that runs off of that deck. And then for the parking lot extension that we're doing for the displaced parking spots located down here in the lower corner, we're planning to utilize pervious pavers or permanent pavers, and per the county, that does not make it pervious or impervious. I'm sorry, it does not include as hardscape. So that will ultimately reduce this 8,712 by a little over 4,000 square feet. So that would be a reduction in the amount of impervious surface that will be generated. So overall, with the proposed development, we're only looking at a little over 19,000 square feet of impervious surface. With that, the village had already taken plans into account to try to manage it and provide some stormwater management for this location with the Terrace Douglas Pond to store their stormwater. So they are planning to buy storage that is available in that pond as part of their development. With that, this development occurred starting in 2009 with the village, in which we graded the existing detention pond for the train station. We dug it out, and with the existing train metro parking lot, we needed about 0.85 acre feet. That's a calculation of storage, and to kind of give you a point of reference, that 0.85 is about 277,000 gallons of storage needed just for the existing metro lot as it stands. The village overdug the pond to its max capacity that's allowed by the constraints of the property, and it currently has a calculated storage of 2.81 acre feet, or approximately 915,000 gallons of storage. With the development, that 18,000 square feet of increased impervious will need to be detained in this pond, which calculates, according to the calculations, about 1.1 acre feet. So therefore, if you kind of do the math, we have excess in that pond. On top of that, the proposed parking lot extension for the metro lot for the displaced parking spots is actually reducing the impervious surface. So with that reduction, no additional storage is needed for that parking lot since they are reducing the amount of storm water running off their property, which is already going to the same drainage basin. So we're not moving that drainage basin, they're actually reducing the amount of stormwater running to it. So when it's all said and done, with this development, we're still calculating a little over about 0.86 acre feet, about 325,000 gallons of storage still available in the detention pond. And it should be noticed when we did this detention pond, we also used native plantings and plants. It's a little overgrown right now. We have to manage that. That's coming up in this next budget year. But with those native plantings, that helps with stormwater quality, which is also a requirement of our code. So that takes out the oils and some of the silt and all those with the native plantings and grass in that lot. So it also accomplishes the goal of that sustainability of stormwater quality. Now, how is that water getting to the pond? The existing parking lot has two main sewer pipes, storm sewer pipes, only storm, through the parking lot that consist of about a 10-inch sewer pipe along the northern property, along the north curb of the parking lot, and through the middle is a 15 to a 12 that connects into the existing south end of the properties. During the design, staff has indicated that, or directed the developers to try to utilize all the roof drains, deck drains that can be piped through the building to be tied into these storm drains so that they can be carried directly to the storm pond. This will not go overland through the parking lot or out to Vermont or Beverly or Ardmore. All the water generated by the building through the roof drains, through the pool deck will be captured and then drained into these two ponds to take it directly into that storage. Currently, the water goes to the north and then should be directed towards the stormwater pond, which then ultimately has some overflows to the east end once it achieves its capacity. Now, with that, we do understand there's some concerns with the actual drainage of the metro lot, and that some of the traffic, and how can we improve that for this development. So we're proposing with this project a few enhancements to the metro lot. We're looking at expanding the entrance off of Ardmore to be a right-in, right-out. Currently, right now, it's a right-in only, and only an entrance off of Ardmore. So with this expansion, we can facilitate movement out of the parking lot back onto Ardmore to further reduce the traffic flow onto Vermont. Also with this, with the relocation of the parking spots for this development, we have to relocate handicap stalls because we have to maintain the ADA requirement for the number of handicap stalls for that parking lot. So we're looking at reducing or removing the drop-off lane based on observations from previous staff and general that lane is not utilized that often, and those stalls that are parked along that entrance lane is rarely used. So we'd like to recondition those spots into handicap accessible. That would put them right up next to the train station and have direct access to the metro station versus having to transverse across the parking lot as it currently exists. And then also noticing a brand new development occurring, we would want to resurface and regrade the north parking lot. That parking lot is old, it's very uneven, and a lot of that water does not get to the storm inlets as it was previously designed. And if you go out there, I think a resident had brought up concerns that they often, it all drains to the north, hits the curb, and then during heavy rains will overtop the curb, causing issues. We want to utilize the storm drains that are there for their purpose. So we would like to regrade the parking lot, recondition the inlets, maybe change them out with some grades, and make sure that the water is directed towards those inlets so that that water is going to the detention pond as it was designed to do. What that kind of looks like is it's kind of hard to see, but with the widening here, we can now have a right in or left in and then a right out only. The handicap stalls will get relocated to the sidewalk here. We'll have some sidewalk improvements as we will need to put handicap ramps at those locations. This will also help facilitate traffic from the proposal in and around the site and not rely heavily on Beverly. This will provide two means of ingress and egress to the building site. They also are looking with this development by moving the entrances to one on the north side near Beverly and one onto Terrace. We no longer need the driveway entrances on Ardmore. Those driveway locations will get curbed through, which will allocate additional on-street parking for the retail and restaurant businesses on the first floor. And in part of Dr. Vish's development, he's also expanding the bike parking accommodations to be a little bit more multimodal friendly, not only for transient, but for pedestrian and bike pedalists. According to their initial recommendations from the traffic engineer, the existing infrastructure, Vermont is a collector street for us that connects Villa to Ardmore, which was recently resurfaced last year and also has a bike lane on it. And then with Ardmore, that no additional intersection or street improvements are needed to accommodate any additional traffic. So that means is the four-way stop will still function well, and then the remaining traffic can still be accommodated on the existing streets. And with that, I can turn it back over to Director Burke for the additional recommendations by staff.
So after listening to and meeting with the residents, the staff is recommending that Terrace becomes a two-way street between Ardmore and Beverly. There'll be on the proposed Metro parking lot, there's going to be addition of a 8-foot privacy fence to the north and east side, and that parking lot's going to be built with permeable pavers. When the Hawthorne project is substantially complete, resurfacing of the Metro parking lot's going to occur, and that would include the replacement of stormwater inlets and the regrading of the lot to facilitate better drainage, such as Mike was discussing just now. Also, the internal drainage system for the project, that's all going to be connected to the existing parking lot through the storm mains, and those mains drain directly into the regional detention basin. We're also going to set aside federal rescue funding for backflow preventers for any residential properties in the immediate area that demonstrate the need. There'll be quarterly construction updates. And then staff does request that the village board direct any concerned citizens to the village manager's office so that the concerns are logged and addressed promptly. So there are 8 solutions on the last 2 slides, and any and all of them approved by the board would be included in the approving ordinance for this project. So now, I'm sorry. School District 45 and District 88 have both approved intergovernmental agreements supporting this project. The Planning and Zoning Commission met on May 13th, and they voted unanimously to recommend approval of this project. And village staff concurs with the commission and recommends approval. Now, I'd like to turn it over to Mike Noonan, who's representing Hawthorne Development.
Thank you, Director Burke. My name is Mike Noonan. I'm a land use attorney at Foley and Lardner in Chicago, Illinois, and I'm here with my co-counsel Donna Pugh, who is also a land use attorney and a partner at Foley. She's the head of our land use group there. For the record, our offices are located at 321 North Clark Street, 3000 in Chicago, and together we represent the applicant Hawthorne Development. With me today are a few members from our team, applicant representative Dr. Vish, architect Richard Jike Jones, architect and urbanist Doug Farr, Chris Lindley civil engineer Chris Lindley of Semcon Limited, and Bill Grieve, our traffic consultant, will be here. He is ironically in traffic. So, couldn't make that up. I'm gonna, I had a longer presentation prepared, and I don't want to talk at you too much because Patrick's presentation was really thorough. I don't really want to be redundant or repeat anything that he had already said. But, when we filed our application, we're here seeking a rezoning of several lots from the plan unit development, which is a commercial PUDC. This is going to get long, sorry. Mixed use TOD district, mixed use residential district, and another mixed use residential district. We'd like to rezone that all to mixed use TOD district, and then we are seeking a special use for a planned unit development. And as Director Burke said, it's going to be a mixed use building, approximately 348 residential units on the development site, surface parking on the additional parcels, which are south of the building. I got that right? East of the building? And the Beverly lot, yes, east of the building in Beverly. Those will be additional parking to replace the Metra spots that will be being acquired. We additionally, like Development Director Burke mentioned, we were in front of the Plan Commission back in May, and we were unanimously recommended by the Plan Commission with a few changes that would enhance the project, which we have taken into consideration and made to our plans. So briefly, we're proposing to develop a high-quality, market-rate, mixed-use development here. We'll have ground floor commercial and restaurant and first-class residential units above. And the amenities, which I'll get into in a little bit, they're going to include a second floor roof pool. I've got a long list that I will get into, but I wanted to point that one out first because I think that's a really great photo there. And this project is also, as you may have heard, going to include many exciting environmentally friendly and resident-friendly design features. This includes, net zero carbon impact, LEED certification, a lot of things that are more in Dr. Vish's wheelhouse, which if you have questions about, he'll be happy to answer. But I want to go over some of the amenities that we've got here. It's a long list, so bear with me. There will be a fitness room, a yoga studio, a mail room with Amazon and Luxarone lockers, package room, residence lounge, a party room, media room, WeWork space with a virtual golf simulator, community room, a swimming pool that would be above the parking deck, a 2,300 square foot there, 36,000 square foot open deck area for residents, outdoor running track, dog wash and open dog park, outdoor grills, outdoor fireplace and seating area, common and gathering rooms, indoor parking garage, sauna, jacuzzi, and there will also be bike storage on the second floor, interior to the parking garage. So quite a few amenities. As Director Burke pointed out, the economic impact of this to the village will be substantial. We're looking at 18 million added annually to the local economy, with 500 residents with an average income of 80,000 a year. Looking at 125 construction jobs and another 63 additional jobs, and an approximate 13.4 million total construction payroll. And just on the screen here, you can see the enhanced corner, a concept drawing of the pool, and another rendering of the outdoor space. So, regarding rents, there was some questions at the last meeting regarding rents. As the development director stated, the building's going to be under construction for several years, and rents are formalized closer to the opening date of the project. So as you all know from the last year and a half, a lot can happen in the world that might impact the rental market just a little. I'm not going to call anything out here. However, if the building were to open tomorrow, the monthly rate for a studio would be approximately $1,600. That's if we were going to open tomorrow. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about building security, as this was some concerns that were raised by residents at the last meeting. We're proud to share that we'll be working with Greystar Management. They are a national apartment manager, very, very reputable. They're going to be handling the resident application process, and they will be performing criminal background checks as well as credit checks on all potential residents. Further, we are going, in addition to the screening, the building will be equipped with a state-of-the-art security system for building entry. This will rely on either facial recognition or palm imprints for all residents. Their profiles will be entered into the system, and they'll be able to enter that way. And there will also be a remote access component where residents can allow guests to enter remotely. So it'll show a live picture of the guest at the door, so you can see who you're letting in. You know, you buzz them in, you can see the picture and all that. And I'm going to just go back to these nice pictures here. And really, we're grateful to the village board and to staff for working with us. We're grateful to all of you for coming out tonight. And I'd like to hand over for questions, if that's all right.
How much interior parking?
Hang on, sir, hang on.
Oh, just a sec.
Okay,
Yep.
we'll start with questions from the board, and then we'll get public comments, if you would, please. Okay, any board members have questions, comments? Trustee Corkery.
So, excuse me, in the presentation, it said that residents would have to demonstrate the need for assistance with backflow. I was wondering, how would you demonstrate that need to the village?
That's
Thank you, Your Honor. When staff and myself analyze that particular segment, most of the time, when we get a heavy rainfall, there'll be certain segments of the village that'll receive heavy rainfall and overland flooding because they're lower parts of the village. And when the water enters their basement, we'll get phone calls, we'll get pictures, we get copies sometimes of insurance claims. And so that would be, we feel, the appropriate way to demonstrate the need is photos, any type of insurance claims, any kind of a documentation to demonstrate the need. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. So you have to have a backflow problem in order to get assistance with stemming the backflow?
Yes. Thank you, Your Honor.
Questions? JP,
Yeah, I was wondering who would pay for the eventual parking lot resurfacing for the Metro lot?
Thank you. So when we had the slide earlier of the proposed solutions, one of the proposed solutions is that the Metro lot be regraded, resurfaced when the project is substantially complete. And by that, we mean the project is almost done. Staff feels that we don't want to redo the parking lot right now because of the truck traffic or people driving and over the new improved surface. So we would program it into a road improvement, 5-year capital improvement binder, which we figure probably right around maybe late spring 23, we would be completing that, or around that timeline, as long as the project is substantially complete. Thank you.
Just one. What material do you think, I guess it might be too soon to tell, but if you know, would that be done with pavers for the whole parking lot? Would it be asphalt? Is there?
Thank you, Your Honor. To be honest, we did discuss permeable pavers, but as we discussed it, the folks that park in Metro that will be using the train will be displaced. And so we need to really get in and out quickly. But that was a discussion. Obviously, the use of the pavers would increase cost, and we're not quite there yet to fully analyze, understand the cost implications, pavers versus asphalt, but that is something we discussed. No decision has been made at this time. Thank you, Ron.
That's all. Thank you.
Mr. President, I was wondering if we could have the developer explain the importance of the 10,000 square foot green roof on the building pertaining to how that helps reduce flooding and runoff.
Sure.
Either one. There's a mic at each.
I think it's on. Well, if it's not, I'll be loud. I'm Chris Lindley with SEMCON. We're the consulting civil engineers for Hawthorne. And one of the ways to improve drainage is to not allow it to get to the detention basin and regulate that flow. So then the detention basin wouldn't fill up in the blink of an eye. With the system on that third floor, the water will take time to percolate and infiltrate into the ground, thereby lengthening the time for it to get to the detention basin. With that being the case, the water that, or a portion of the detention basin that was inundated would have time to release, and then it's not all once. So it's a timing issue, or not a timing issue, but it's a timing factor that improves the detention for the Douglas detention basin.
A couple more questions for you about the green roof itself. So is this going to be an extensive green roof, like the trays that are on top? How deep are the trays? I know that the size of the trays also affect the amount of flow and water that is absorbed into the soils that are used on there.
Jake? They're 6 inches deep.
6 inches deep. And across a 10,000 square foot roof, or approximately?
There's more roof than that, but 10,000 of it is the soil.
Okay. And we could assume that that would reduce the average rainfall, or by what kind of percentage there?
Well, it doesn't reduce the rainfall. The rainfall is the rainfall. the runoff. Well,
because you're talking about the timing.
Right.
The timing and how it reduces the timing before it gets to that basin. So could you explain how those 6-inch planters reduce it even more time to get to there?
Well, in some cases with the permeable pavers, or in this case the infiltration methods, if the time increases, then it could also evaporate, because with the sunlight that'll warm up the planter boxes, whatever the case may be, and thereby that will reduce the amount of runoff, or I shouldn't say runoff, but the amount of water that actually gets to the detention basin.
In your experience then, would you say that flooding would not be considered an issue in this project then?
No, from our calculations, flooding is not an issue. Actually, the proposed improvements will improve the runoff and the direction of the runoff for those residents on Vermont Street, because right now, 3/4 of the large site drains to the north and the east, and then 1/4 drains to the south and the east through the storm sewer system that was shown on the board. In the proposed condition, because we have the detention basin and we need to utilize the detention basin for storage, all of the water that did go to another location is now directed through the storm system to the detention basin. And another point here as well, the existing duplexes on the east side of Beverly, most of those lots drain due east, or most of the runoff drains due east without any interception and does not make it to the detention basin. In the proposed condition with the permeable paver parking lot, at the far east end of that parking lot, there'll be storm sewer. So whatever doesn't infiltrate into the ground will be captured by the storm sewer, routed to the detention basin, thereby relieving the backyards of those residents of runoff that was there prior to the development.
Excellent, thank you.
Chris, if I could interrupt, I'm happy to be the world's most expensive easel and hold one of the boards that we've prepared there.
You're good.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, I've got a couple for you. since you handled those so well. With that extra runoff that's coming from the north side of the development that was going on to Vermont.
Vermont.
And I know, I think you said that there was like a 10-inch pipe and then a 15-inch in the parking lot?
It starts out as 10-inch and then 12-inch. By the time it gets to the east, the storm sewer gets larger in diameter, and it ultimately is an 18-inch diameter
Okay.
storm sewer that drains into the basin.
And that will definitely handle any runoff, any additional runoff from the building?
It's designed for that.
Yeah, okay. And then, I know a resident had asked a question about the parking lot on Beverly, that there was an approximate 4-foot decrease in elevation from the southwest corner to the northeast. Is that parking lot going to be level then, or is it going to grade in the same direction?
No, it'll still follow the contours or the topography of
Okay.
the site.
Okay.
And it does drain when we analyze the topography that we shot out in the field, it does drop as you move to the east.
Okay.
So it'll follow the natural.
And that's where the inlet would be, obviously, to go back into the,
The storm sewer system will be on the very eastern end of the site where the curb is, or the permeable pavers.
Yeah.
So I think there's probably maybe 8 or 10 feet between that portion, or that limit, and then the far east property.
okay, good, thank you. I think that answers it. Okay, no other questions? We will open it up to residents. If you would please come to the podium and limit your comments to 3 minutes. And please state your name when you come.
But there is a pen to sign it.
Okay.
You need to sign it.
You would like me to sign in first?
Yes, please.
Okay, that took a little while, sorry. I'm Marcia Garza. I live on Princeton Avenue. I'm happy to see that the developer heard some of my concerns last time in regards to security and safety in the neighborhood, and that you are going to be doing background checks for anyone that applies to live in this new building. I still have a concern, and my concern is that with the way that it is set up right now, we are opening it up more for transiency still, because we're opening up it more for single people than we are for families. I would like to see more of this being open to families than to single people. I think the percentage is a little bit off there. That's my opinion on that, but I also think this will be a perfect time to turn something like this into a condominium. Why not a condominium? Why are we having more rental properties in an area where there is already a ton of rental properties? I walked at the end of my block today, again, that building at the end of my street, which I told you there was a murder that occurred there about a week ago, okay? I walked at the end of that block again, and there is garbage all over that building. And I'm thinking, do we have a plan for this to figure out, how garbage disposal is going to be done in this new structure? So that's my other concern. As far as I'm also happy to see that there is a plan. So I'm stating positives and negatives here, but I am happy to see that there is a plan for the backflow of water. But I also see that the village, if we go through with this plan, that the village is going to receive a substantial amount of money. And I'm thinking, what about those of us who have already paid a substantial amount of money for waterproofing? I paid over $10,000 to waterproof my house. When am I going to see any of that back? And so, because, for the longest time, we didn't have a good plan for waterproofing in the village. And so every single house on my street has waterproofing being done to their home,
We're at 30 seconds.
okay? And that's my comments for today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do answers? Can we respond? Is that all right? Okay.
Hi, my name is George Bennis. I have the property at 503 North Princeton, and I just wanted to say that I've been here since I was 8 years old and grew up in town. Went to all the schools in town, and I just want to say that I'm very happy to see this project going through. I want all the residents to know that I think it's great. I think that everything that the village has done and spent a lot of time putting this together, I'm very happy to see it. And I have nothing negative to say about the project. I just wanted to say thank you for coming to Villa Park and making it a better place. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jeff Kaida. I'm at 437 Fulton. I stand in support of this project. We've been on that address for 20 years now. I have not seen any development in the area. In fact, we walk past that, drive past it on a daily basis, and that the area that is marked for improvement here, marked for construction, we've watched it decay for 20 years. Village of Villa Park has one of the nicest train stations on the line, not to mention among other metro lines, and yet we've done nothing to leverage it. This project would do that. We've seen in Arlington Heights, Mount Prospect, Elmhurst, Glen Ellen, name the town on a train line. They've developed properties around their train stations, and it's paid off for their towns, and it's made their immediate communities more vibrant. I think it's important that this project go through. I understand there's concerns about such a big building in an area that didn't have big buildings, but we need to move forward, and it hasn't hurt any of the other towns that have engaged in these types of projects. So I'm very much in favor of it, and if with respect to the permeable parking lots, the pavers and stuff, if anybody wants to see that in large scale, real life, go to the Morton Arboretum. They've had a system in there for 5 years or more, and it works great for them, and I'm sure there'd be somebody at the Arboretum willing to tell you all about it. So, thank you.
Oops. I'm going to try to go through this pretty quickly. See, we've got 3 minutes.
State your name.
What's that?
State your name.
Oh, Reed Goodrich is my name. It fell off. Oh, here it is. So anyway, I'm going to jump back about 15 years real quick just for the help set the stage for some of this. Is that the fact that this was the usual reasons for making places a TIF district is because they're blighted. Ovaltine I get. The place was an empty hook and it was graffiti and transients and so on. The neighborhood up there has never been blighted. We've never had empty buildings and so on. And I understand the original thought for this 15 or so odd years ago was really at the suggestion of the train, the railroad, because they wanted to, up their revenues. And so with that, somebody in the city signed on, and here we are. By a note from the Zoning and Planning Commission dated May 5th, I want to remind the folks here that they're anticipating a diminution in the property value, okay? And what that means is your values are going to go down when this building goes up, which they think is going to be justified by an increase in public health, safety, and welfare, whatever that means. Well, I see some improvements to the plan regarding some of the water issues and traffic issues that were stated when I was at an earlier meeting. Let's not forget that somebody in the Public Works Department has to go around after a substantial rain and sandbag the manholes and put barricades around those manholes because the water pressure blows them off. So, and we'll see how all this affects that. Lastly, and this may be a question directed to, I think the fire chief was here. Do you have trucks that are going to reach 7 stories? Because if this guy's going to get insurance for his building, the first thing the insurance company is going to do is say, does the village have the capability to protect it? And I guess the answer is no.
That's a pretty important safety question.
I can answer it.
Sure, please do.
So, in fact, this question was asked to me probably 4 years ago. And my answer was...
I want more.
Hang on a second, Chief. Yeah, thank you.
I want more time.
No, you were at 30 seconds, so.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So about, I think 3 or 4 years ago, this was asked to me when Garden Station was going to be built by, I think, Rick Goldman at the time. So my answer to that was, what do they do in Chicago and everywhere else? They have buildings 100 stories. Nobody has a ladder truck to reach 100 stories. Nobody has a truck to reach 7 stories. Interior firefighting is what we do in this type of building. This building will be better protected than probably 80% of the buildings in town. It's going to be smoke detected, early detection, fully sprinklered. They'll have smoke evac set up. They'll have every safety feature possible for this building. And I've been a fireman for over 40 years, and I've been on high-rise fires, and we do it internally, inside. Now, to reach the roof or to reach the 7th story, there's nowhere in the western suburbs or anywhere that has a ladder to reach that high.
All right, let me rephrase the question then.
Sure.
Are you going to have to buy more fire equipment?
No, I don't believe so.
Don't believe so.
Don't believe so.
Well, apparently that tells me that this question hasn't been fully thought through.
No, I think the chief answered
Well,
that.
for the most part, he did.
If you talk about the Ovaltine, they have a building over there pretty comparable. I believe Willow Point is pretty comparable. We don't need that type of equipment. If anything, we need more manning. Manning costs money. This will bring in money for us to maybe hire more people.
Okay.
To answer your question, we don't have a ladder truck to reach the roof, the 7th story, but nobody does. So.
Okay.
Reed.
Well, just for the
No,
record.
I'm sorry, your time's up, sir.
What's that? Oh, one last question. All righty. I would just close with,
A question. A question, sir. A question, not a comment, please.
Are we getting our playground? I mean, this is all wonderful, but what's happening? What is the return, or what is the benefit to actually invest in the neighborhood? The roads and the piping and all that stuff, so you're saying solving existing problems. But what goes back into the neighborhood? That's the question.
A good question. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michelle Boughton, live at 407 North Fulton, and I brought up questions regarding the drainage. We have the detention pond. I live at Fulton, okay, where the detention pond starts. And for the last year, since the lockdown started in March, my daughter and I have walked that path every single day. We missed 4 days until January. Between January and February, with the cold and the snow, we missed a few more days. And I can guarantee you, even with heavy rain, because there was a storm that knocked our power was out for an entire week. Okay, I don't know what it is with that corner of the village, but it takes forever for our power to come back. A week is really unacceptable. Even with heavy rain, I did not see very much water in there. It's like a teeny little swamp. I live there, I know the area. I don't care what they tell you, They don't live there and they don't see it. And we've had crappy snow removal, logistically and financially. They skip our blocks, Ellsworth, Fulton, Girard, and Hamilton, because we dead end. We just dead end. They skip our blocks and maybe come back the next business day, which if it's Friday when it snows, they might come back on Monday. Is the plowing going to get better because we're going to have a 348 unit building? And really, I don't know anybody, I've been working for 43 years, straight. I don't know anybody that makes $80,000 that could afford that apartment. Right now, a $1,600 rent for a studio. I don't know anybody that can afford that. I am not opposed to development, but it needs to be the right development for that area. We're not Lombard, we're not Elmhurst. We're about a 2x3 teeny little village in between those two. Ovaltine was set way back. It didn't affect people like it's going to affect us. Ardmore, Vermont, I have to get out there. This is going to go on for 3 years. How am I going to get to work in a reasonable amount of time when they're going to be, that intersection is going to be screwed? You know, my concern is a lot. I would not be opposed to something smaller and more appropriate for that part of the village. It's quiet. We like it that way. We already got enough traffic. And you're talking about having traffic coming out onto Ardmore from the train station? That's insane. That is literally insane. They're never going to make it. It's a 2-lane road.
30 seconds.
I know that. So that's going to be insane to have traffic coming out of there. It already gets backed up from the tracks, and then you're going to have it backing up even more, having people coming out trying to make a left turn to go south on Ardmore. That's not going to work. I can tell you that right now. It's not going to work.
Okay. Just a quick comment.
You're taking up my time.
Oh, sorry, go
So,
ahead. Sorry.
yeah, you can comment after that. So more needs to be done, and stuff needs to be, you know, let us know in enough time,
Yeah, definitely.
appropriately.
Just a point of comment, though, that coming out on Ardmore will be right turn only. You will not be able to turn left there.
Still going to
Yeah,
cause a
actually.
lot of traffic,
It would just be going northbound.
unless they don't want to. Because I guarantee they'll try.
Hi, Mary Lou Alonso. I'm at 443 North Princeton. Has anybody looked at the neighborhood we're talking about? There's a bunch of Section 8 housing all around there. Who's going to want to live in this? Who's going to live in the Ivory Tower when there's Section 8 all around? And I really kind of thought that every building made, a percentage of it had to be Section 8. And if so, are we slowly going to just make it just a big high-rise Section 8? I don't know. And then the traffic. We talk about, oh, well, the train. No, there's 500 cars. There's 500 families living here. There's going to be cars moving in and out all the time. We already have traffic. There's nonstop traffic. We do not need more traffic. We should look at the existing apartment buildings that are right there. Offer them the same kind of deal you're offering these developers to develop their buildings, to make it better housing, to make it luxury housing. We don't need to put an ivory tower in the middle of debris. Just a minute, and that's it. Oh, I will take. And as everybody else mentioned, Ogilvy, an abandoned warehouse, an abandoned factory, off to the east of town. This is the center of the center of town. It should be the center of town because the train comes in. And I know nobody on the board takes the train into town. I took the train into town for 25 years, and Villa Park was the laughingstock because it's the ghetto on the line, and there's nothing. And you're not going to improve the apartment buildings around the line. You're going to put up an ivory tower and make the bad stuff look worse.
Hi, I'm Steve Hartzels. I live at 314 South Villa. I'm a union carpenter. This is in a TIF district. We have about 100 members that live in Villa Park alone, and that's not counting the other trades. I just would like some kind of dialogue with the doctor or whatever about having union labor on this project. They're putting these projects up in every town at the train station, and we've had some issues with tax fraud, 1099s, contractors subbing out to the subs that they're paying cash. And I just would like I said, I talked to the doctor outside and have an open dialogue on this project. Thank you.
How you doing? Mike Orlowski. I grew up at 409 Girard in 1965, which is on the north side of Villa Park. I'm also on the Planning and Zoning Commission. I've lived in the village for 56 years, and I've watched nothing but that whole area decay and have no improvement. It's been having floods in Villa Park, in Lombard, and in Elmhurst since probably 1970. So we can't blame flooding on a building. It's DuPage County. It used to be a swamp. Anyone that has rode the train, yes, you can tell when you get to Villa Park, because nothing's changed since I was 3. And it's about time to me that something in this village changes for a positive. As far as it being a bad area, I've done many steering committees, many planning meetings, and everything else with this village. If you overpopulate a bad area with good people, the bad people leave because they feel uncomfortable. And as far as the rent, they'll probably, all the one-bedroom apartments will be rented before it's even finished. If you go and look at any other building around here of that nature, it's full, it's fully occupied. People only want a one-bedroom apartment. They don't want to buy a house. They don't want to have to pay all the taxes and do all the utility work and everything else. When they first start out, they can't do it. I'm all for this project. I was the first time that we approved the first project that didn't take place. This village has been planning this since 2013 and probably before then. That's it. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Shelley Swanson. I live at 513 East Park Boulevard, and I think this project is awesome. I'm really excited about it. I live by Ovaltine, and it was one of the best things that ever happened, just all the improvements, and it was neat because all the businesses around the area started flourishing because of all the people coming in. And then with the businesses, I mean, I watched all this. It was fun. With all the businesses taking in more money now, they start improving their storefronts and everything just looks so much nicer. And some businesses even came into the area because there were so many people right there. And even 7-Eleven just started flourishing. They started getting more coffee pots and different varieties of coffee to administer to all the people, which made it fun for us too. And we've got just so many, I don't want to name companies, but everything's just flourishing there. And I'm just really excited for the South Side because, I go by there, I have a lot of friends there in church, and it is kind of depressing. And I think it's amazing that you guys are doing something with it. And, with that, we got all new streets, and they had to take care of the water problems because there's so many people there now. And everything just flourished after that. And, I was going to say something else. What was it? Oh man, I forgot. But with the companies and everybody improving, and Oh, I know. And then people were talking about traffic. They were talking about traffic of Ovaltine too. But it's not like everyone leaves at the same time. There's different exits, and I haven't noticed anything. Plus, my gut feeling is a lot of people are going to move there for the train. I mean, that makes sense. So they're not even using their cars. And a lot of people are working from home now. And I just think it's amazing. This is beautiful. I kind of want to live there, so I was like, I was going to see if I could afford a second place. No, it's beautiful. Just like Ovaltine is amazing. And I was just telling my husband, I hope I find a friend there that lives there so I can go in there and see it, But no, I'm really excited for the South Side because everything just builds up after that, and it is, I have to say, it is depressing and nothing's been done. And if I was single, I would move in there and take the train downtown to work. That would be perfect. The gas is going up so high, you can just hop in the train. I mean, it's just common sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
John Campbell, I live on Sunset Avenue. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is there TIF money on this job?
I'm sorry?
Is there TIF money on this job?
Yes, this is a TIF district.
Does that mean that it's going to be prevailing wage?
That'll be a Kathy question.
The prevailing wage requirement does not necessarily pertain to TIF dollars. So that is part of the discussion with the developer. Just because you use TIF dollars, it's not mandated by law that there's be.
So you're saying it's not going to be a prevailing wage job?
I don't know that. I'm not, we're not contracting for the job. Any work that this village does in connection with the parking lots, the revamping, the resurfacing shall be prevailing wage.
Okay, may I ask the developer?
I don't think, I don't know if there's I mean, they don't know because they haven't gone out to contract.
Well, I think it'd be very important, if we're looking at economic impact, to bring well-paying jobs to the area
Yes.
instead of low-paying jobs to the area.
We can guarantee the public infrastructure part done by the village shall be prevailing wage. What percentage of that is in the overall investment, I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Sharon Chrysokas, and I live at 243 North Wisconsin. My question is, I'm all for this project, but I was thinking, the first lady that came on board, can part of these be condominiums, part rental, part condo, where the owners of the condominiums would take care of the property versus the renters who seem to destroy? Is there a way to maybe make I don't know, maybe the units a little bit bigger, half and half, like end units be owner-occupied owners and then inside be rental?
I won't speak for the developer, but just my experience is either a building is going to be condo or it's going to be rentals. You
can't be
you can't really, because the condo association has to cover the whole building. And if you have some condos and some rentals, the condo association can't cover the entire building. So it's either going to be one or the other. And just from past experience, the condo market is just not there.
Well, it's coming back.
It's coming back.
Yeah, I mean, I know Diamond, when he started doing this, we had the meeting over at Villanova, and he tried to do FHA, and FHA, they would not approve it.
Right.
But you could always go conventional.
Correct.
I mean, I would think if someone's going to pay $2,000, they can make it their primary residence
Yeah.
versus being a rental property.
But unfortunately, I do some work with developers in the city, and pretty much everything that's going up, all the high rises, they're all rentals. Nobody is building condos right now. It may come back in the next couple of years, and I don't know if the building is built to be condos eventually. Again, that's a question for the developer, but right now, the condo market is just not there to support a building this size.
Who's going to take care of this green roof? Where's the money's going to come for all these extra things, pool and all the amenities?
That's the market. I mean, they build the building and then they hold on to it. And so they'll take care of all the maintenance.
Oh, you mean these, or whoever the builder is, would come in and service plants and whatever?
Correct, right. The Hawthorne is going to be the operator of the building once it's built.
So they take care of the pool, chlorine it, the whole shebang?
Correct.
Okay. All righty. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any other comments? Quick.
Name's John Contry. I live at 134 North Charles Avenue. One of my concerns for the area up there, I mean, it's great you guys are building this. They're saying there's going to be 500 residents. So they're planning 10% of the people not to own cars. If you took a poll of this room right now, I bet everybody in here owns a car. And I think they're going to be a little low with 500 residents. Apartment building rent is going to be such as you're probably going to have 2 people in a 1-bedroom apartment, which would put you at 600 residents just in the 1 bedrooms. What's the plan for when the 440 parking spots are full and you got another 100 cars to go somewhere? They going in the metro lot, or are they going on city streets? We know they don't go on city streets. So what's the plan when you run out of parking spots?
I think there'll be a question for their traffic person, I would believe, unless you guys want to comment.
I mean, it seems like a low number of parking spots.
Hi, Bill Grieve, Senior Transportation Engineer with Gaylord Hamilton Associates. Actually, the number of parking spaces that are going to be provided are going to meet village code. And one could even say the village code really makes sure that the residents are taken care of. A vast majority, or at least a majority of village codes are based on just the dwelling unit itself, whether it's 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, or a studio. Your village code makes sure that there's a parking space for every bedroom. So you wind up with, you know, in addition to that, with this being a classic TOD development, transit-oriented development, there are going to be people who just don't want a car. You know, people have talked about the fact that I can just walk across the street to Metro. If I really need a car, I can rent one for the weekend to go do my grocery shopping or whatever. So if you take a look at the actual demand that we're anticipating, we think that this development may actually be overparked a bit.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Vicki Flaskamp. I will live at 421 South Oakland, though my parents have lived here since January 1960, so we've been residents for years. They live on the north side. That's where I grew up. So I do think we need some more answers. I think we need to really discuss how the TIF money is going to be used. The developer does get money for that through that TIF project, and we need to know how that's going to be used, and we need a few more answers on that. The comment about our train station, I just wanted to know what train station have you been to, because most of them are not that well on the train line. I've taken the train line for many years, because we do have to walk to work. You can't hear me? Sorry. We have to work to work. We do have to walk to work when you go downtown. The Ovaltine development was not very popular. The stack was a loophole in the development. What other loopholes are there in this particular project? We noticed that there should be, the notices should have been sent to all the residents, because I didn't know most about it, and a lot of other residents did not know. It seemed to be quite a surprise that this was happening. Nowhere on the website could I find any information. You talk about storm management. It is not good in the village today. How do we know it will be addressed properly, as you have not done well in the past? You say it's okay, though how do we trust you? The village has not performed well. Impervious parking, who will maintain that in the village? And because once you do the impervious, what grows through the impervious? Lots of weeds. Who is taking care of that? There's a lot of public space that's going to be done that's going to have impervious parking, as well as a street, which is terrace. The calculations on the minimum water surge, the only thing that's left over is 0.86. That's not a lot. Parking in and out is dangerous out of the parking lot for the train station, especially after passenger trains drops passengers. I have done this. You're going to turn right out of the parking lot. The traffic is going to go down to Villa to get down, get across town. It's a right-hand turn for a reason. It has been for many years, as it is dangerous. So as you push these residents down Vermont to go to the other side of town, which you say has been resurfaced, it was not resurfaced 100%. It's pretty much patchworked. All the traffic down the street will get to the other side. You will just make the bike where you just made a bike lane. Is that going to be really safe? And then you talk about resurfacing. You're going to resurface the parking lot. There are many streets in our town that have not been resurfaced since the referendum has been passed. Why should this project come before other roads that have not been resurfaced? It's been 8 or 9 years. Why is it not complete? With the changes in the land, again, we keep talking about more permeable pavers, especially in the parking lots and the streets. We need to maintain those. How, again, is the village going to maintain those? And then you talk about this one. It's going to be 7 stories. 7 stories in Villa Park. What else is 7 stories in Villa Park? It's going to stick out like an
30
eyesore.
seconds, please.
And then how often will you upgrade when you design the amenities are out of date like Ovaltine? What is your marketing plan for this development? How are you going to attract and keep your residents? Yes, it is a high price to be paying for an apartment. So I'm not opposed, 100% opposed to this project, but we, the residents, need a lot more answers than you are providing at this time.
Okay, do we have any more comments, questions? Okay. Oh.
I'm Jerry Shaw, and I live at 716 South Harvard. Lived there for 40 plus years. Villa Park resident for over 50. I was very excited about the Ovaltine project when it came up, and I think I'm excited about this project, but we do have a lot of questions, just like the lady who just spoke. One of the things that you guys haven't spoken about yet, unless I just missed it, was there a traffic study done? Because it seems like the residents in that area are very concerned about traffic, especially with the train being right there. That's my only question.
Thank you. A traffic study was conducted, correct?
Correct. It hasn't been finalized.
And it'll be before, obviously. All right, thank you.
Yes, my name is Robert Smith, 137 North Charles. I'm about 4 blocks away from this. I'm glad to see the village is taking some steps at looking at development of the site. It's been idle way too long, and I agree with some people here. However, the scope of the project is overwhelming. It just adding 400 units, all these people, traffic, stormwater management, I think is an error. I think it needs to be analyzed even more. I think my biggest problem is process. This room shouldn't be full here today. All these questions should have been answered at a committee level before it even got into this boardroom. I think this is indicative of the way this community has handled projects of this magnitude, as well as even the smaller type of projects. We need to have a higher standard, a better process for communication, planning, community input, and communication with our residents. I'm experiencing this firsthand with Charles Avenue. If anybody knows me, I've been called, "You're the guy from Charles Avenue, aren't you?" I might as well just change my name to Charles. So I think this needs to go back. Not eliminated. I think it's got to be tweaked and all these concerns addressed. And if these numbers are true, and this is what, I'll back this 100%, if Hawthorne will guarantee these numbers in perpetuity. Stand behind it. You're selling it on these numbers. And I expect other governments, such as the school districts, where single people probably aren't going to be adding to the load of school districts, that's money in the bank for them. Of course they're going to sign on to it. It's no draw. And if they get that money, do I get my tax referendum back that's just been passed for the schools. I doubt it. But anyway, keep working on it. Send it back. I encourage the board just to take pause on it, send it back, do a better job of community engagement, and get all these questions answered. The next meeting should be 100% support. People pound it. Yeah, get moving. Move as fast as you can. That's a successful planning process.
Hi, my name is Paula Krizik, and I live at 109 East Vermont. My question is in regards to the metro station. When you guys repave that, where are all the commuters going to park? You're talking about it being pushed out a few years before that actually happens. I personally work downtown, so I know the traffic that goes in that parking lot. So I'm concerned that they're either going to be parking on my street, or as I'm crossing the street to try to get to my house, that I'm going to almost get hit again. It's a regular thing. The traffic study that was done, I'm curious as to when it was done. Was it done pre-pandemic? Because yeah, right now the metro station is empty because a lot of places downtown are allowing people to be remote. But I can tell you that I work for a large insurance company downtown, and we are going back into the office. We are expected to be back into the office after Labor Day. So we're talking about hundreds of people coming back to the train station. Where are they going to park, and how is it going to be addressed?
Okay, my name's Steve Della Rosa. I'm at 300 South Summit. I'm a 20-year resident of Villa Park. And basically, I want to say to Villa Park, and specifically this assembly of our board, that I beseech you to stay 100% on top of this project, because you inherited this project from the previous administration, even though our village manager and some of our participants on the board and ancillary officers are regulars in terms of the village board. Most of you are not. And having participated in the previous administration, with the amount of questions that have been generated by the numerous residents of the town regarding parking, pavers, who's going to take up that cost? We talk about repaving the metro station with pavers. Nobody's mentioned going in talking to Metra and asking Metra to pick up some of that cost. Instead, we're asking ourselves and pointing fingers of question marks because we don't know the numbers. I'm saying to this board that it is our responsibility as a village to basically know the numbers before we agree to go forward with this. I'm 100% for this project, but I don't want to pick up slack that has fallen through the cracks. I don't believe our village should be doing that, but I believe our village cannot turn down the infusion of $121 million to this town because this town needs that type of infusion. This town should prosper. This town is a great place to live. We all have grown up in this area, have kids. The schools are wonderful, and it's our duty to preserve that. So I ask this board once again to do the work and to be sure that we don't get left holding any heavy bags. Thank you.
everybody. My name is Patrice Gallagher. I live at 36 South Monterey, across from Rotary Park, which is adjacent kitty corner to Ovaltine. And I believe last summer, Rotary Park was dug out to be some sort of retention or detention pond. And I think a lot of money went towards a big pump at that water station. And then we had a big rain and it didn't work, and the corner of Wildwood and Monterey flooded just like it always floods. So I have a concern about stormwater management in that Terrace Douglas pond that was shared. I also have a comment, I have a question for the developer in terms of kind of accountability. Like, these are great plans, but you know, what if it doesn't manifest like it's planned? Like, what happens to us? And are you planning on staying with the investment for a while? Are you going to hire a property management company? And are you, or maybe in your plans are you just want to build it and leave? And I kind of like to know if you plan on staying in town for a while. Thank you.
Thank you very much, honorable members of the board and the public. I definitely welcome a lot of these comments, but let me address a couple of these important ones. Can you hear? Okay, sorry. Sorry, okay. Now I don't need the microphone. Maybe I'll shout. I will address a couple of the issues that were raised here. First question was with respect to, do we intend to build and flip and go? My answer is no. We have investing $120 million, and this investment has got to be protected. We want to be shining as a crown jewel of the city, and we want people to be happy. And that relates to another question raised by another person here about condominiums. I have personally done condo conversions, bought apartment buildings, converted them to condos. There is a time for it. Just wait. Maybe 5 years from now, 6 years from now, when the market turns, you know, for the good, and people are happy living here, we want to give them the experience living here. Maybe there will be a condo market. It's not there today. At that time, we will consider that option, because I have done condo conversions, many in the suburbs as well as in the city. So that's not an option I'm ruling out, but it's not today.
Can you answer about garbage disposal, how you guys are planning on providing garbage disposal? Because that's been a problem with the big
people get one out.
Ma'am, if you want to ask a question, you got to go. No, you've already done it once.
Yeah, I asked before. I just wanted an answer for it.
I think, Jake, you want to deal with it?
I can, yes. We have a section of our building on the first floor that is dedicated to that. We have compactors and recycling bins that are there, so that everything is self-contained within the building. And this will all be done privately and handled that way. It will not be dumpsters sitting out in the open with general people able to put trash and things in it. It's all internal to our structure.
Can that man answer how?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Can't do that.
All right, good evening. Nice jacket, by the way, Nick. All right, Justin Schlunsky, 436 North Fulton. Trustee Patrick, I think that we all owe you a very heavy round of applause for essentially mandating that this meeting take place tonight, based upon your comments from the last meeting. I'd like to thank the entire development team for the newly rendered, or rather the revised renderings that have definitely been modified and updated from the planning and zoning meeting that you presented to. You took our advice, you took our guidance, you took our comments, and you made it work for the plans that are presented tonight. So this even just goes to show that you're taking the Planning and Zoning Commission seriously enough to bring this towards the entire residential public and before the board. So I thank you for that. I do have a couple questions and comments. So the runoff stormwater, which I live 2 blocks north of, by the way, off of Fulton, the stormwater runoff detention basin, I walk my dogs on there constantly, and the sidewalk that just butts that. Like the woman before me, who also lives on Fulton, indicated, I've never seen that full, and I take that as a positive, because it indicates that the stormwater detention basin is working properly. Just for my own edification, are there any plans from the village perspective to modify that detention basin in any way for this project in particular?
Thank you, Ron. That's a good question. And right now, the answer would be no, but we're doing the other green features to reduce the runoff or timeliness of the runoff as well. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Secondly, we do see in the rendering, at least on the corner of Ardmore on the south end facing the tracks, that appears to be an entrance. Can the developers team just indicate how many pedestrian entrances will be available absent the interior parking lot?
We actually have a main entrance that is through the public lobby and everything that accesses all of our amenity spaces. And then we have entries at the 4 different stairways with the building that residents could go in and out through the security system. The general public will not be able to go through that and will not be able to access. That's part of our security system.
Thank you. You hit on the next point. Thank you. All right. In general, I've heard a lot of commentary today, and if I could grab a couple additional seconds based upon the answers from
Yeah, we'll give you
staff.
a couple more.
Thank you. With regards to the questions of why not condos, why not different developments, why not a plan that will, satisfy resident A versus resident B? No development is ever going to be satisfactory 100% across the board. In addition, the village does not dictate private development in any town. Private entities or owners bring proposals to commissions and to boards for review, discussion, and voting. The development is likely to be the first of several developments in that quadrant, in that sector, whatever terminology you want to use, or possibly redevelopment in that TOD district. That is the entire point of this development. Someone has to be the first to pave the way, to break the ground. So that is going to be this, whatever this is, if it's this plan entirely or modified slightly, is going to be the first of probably many. Last.
We have to cut you.
All right.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, I'm Matt Schmidt. I live at 454 South Yale. Also have a property on Illinois Street, 126 North Illinois. This development will increase property values. Anyone that thinks not doesn't understand the economic benefit of having a development versus having what's there right now. In order for this project to make money and make sense for all parties, the village, the developer, and everyone, there has to be so many units. You can't just put a small number of units and expect to make any money. Honestly, the Ivory Tower would increase values and rents on existing buildings around it. This would probably drive out some Section 8, at least some of it. This is uncomfortable, but good will come out of it. I own a business, raise a family, and own real estate in town. Let's move forward and make an eyesore a nice place. I take care of my property, and I'm sure Hawthorne is going to take care of their property and their money. I don't tell my neighbors to cut their grass or paint their fence, even though I would like to. So I think the village should maybe think about, and the people of the village should think about maybe not telling Hawthorne how they spend their money.
Okay. We all done? Sorry, you had your chance, right? Okay. Seeing no further comments, if you do have more comments, feel free to contact the village manager.
That's fine, thank you, Your Honor.
Send your comments to the village manager. He will forward them to the appropriate departments. And first, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out too. I think we can tell that some of your previous comments were taken to heart, and all your comments tonight will also. You know, this is a big development in the village, and it's something that's been done in a long time, and we appreciate everyone coming out and giving us their opinion here. So with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Trustee Patrick, a second. Trustee Sawala, roll call.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Salela?
Yes.
President Kazal?
Yes. Okay, our next board meeting will be Monday, June 14th at 7 o'clock here. Thank you.